Hello, Seekers. Thank you very much for joining me today. I am back with episode 4 of Broken Shores with combat rules from Ker Nethalas and Carnage Aether. It's been a little while since the last episode. I'm glad that I've been keeping notes so that I can kind of get caught up to where I am. And I think keeping notes is probably something I will continue to do in all of my games. Whether I really talk about them very much in the video or not, it's certainly a good and useful aid for me to keep up on what I'm doing with different games. And yeah, also on the kind of on that same topic, I needed some time away to think about how I want to approach my playthrough videos in the future, and I came up with a solution that I think is really going to work well for me and for you all going forward, to keep things consistent and to also provide all of the sort of different things that people may be interested in when evaluating a particular game. And so the first game that I'm going to have using that is going to be coming up very soon. But before I do that, I need to finish my playthrough series for Broken Shores and for Hostile Solo. So I'll be working on that until roughly about the end of the month, for about another week or so here, and then the first video using a sort of new style that I will be doing will be coming. But don't fear, there's still absolutely going to be gameplay, playthrough, actual play content on the channel, because that is what my channel is primarily about. And understanding and learning and seeing how games play is a very, very interesting thing for me. It's probably the thing that I'm most interested in. I really like to know how games play, and I like to experience it for myself. So that is still very much the focus of the channel. It's just I have found a way that I like going forward to be able to show the different games that I am interested in, because as you know, getting into the hobby, you find more and more and more games that you want to try, that, or also that you have sitting on your shelf because you've started to accumulate them. I'm not quite 6 months into this hobby yet, and I've already got a lot of games, and I'm happy that I have a lot of games because it's represents a lot of different things that I can try and then I can play. So I'm very happy about that. But okay, enough about that. Let's get into our playthrough. And where we left off in episode 3, Corwin had finished some camping and resting and some fishing, because he needed to heal up from some damage that we took here in this tower on the second floor, where we fought I believe it was an overwhelming difficulty rotting dead, and luckily it was just one rotting dead, so it was not too bad, but it could have been a very, very nasty fight. But anyway, so Corwin healed up and rested up, and his camp has been set in Hex 4, so he did his resting and camping there. And then we moved through Hex 3 and then through Hex 6, and Corwin did an encounter check in those hexes, and he did not encounter any rotting dead. And now he is back here in the tower, and we're going to explore the third floor of the tower, which we did not finish, and there is some nasty stuff waiting for us there in the final floor of the tower. So let's see what we have here. Oh yeah, and one more thing before I do that, actually. When I finished the camping, I should have done some rolls for his athletics, his dodge, and his simple melee weapons, because they are all been marked for improvement. So let's do that before we get going here. And the way I'm doing that is the way that it is done in Carnage Aether. And in Carnage Aether, if you roll up, you need to do a D100 roll, and if you roll above your skill, then you get to increase your skill by D4 points. But if you roll below the skill, you simply increase the skill by 1. So I really, really like that. I like that it gives you a chance to get more skill points and grow faster, but I also like that there's still a roll involved there, so there's still a little bit of luck. You're not going to just get that fast growth every time. You can't just count on it. So really cool. I like the way that that's done in Carnage Aether, which is definitely a game that you guys will be seeing on the channel soon here. I'm looking forward to playing that as well. All right, so let's do a D100 roll here for athletics. And we have rolled a 14, so that is not going to be enough to give us a D4 roll for that. So athletics will simply increase by 1 up to 56. So we're now at 56 on athletics, and let's roll for dodge. And 34, okay, so dodge will also increase by a single point up to 76. And then now we are going to roll for simple melee weapons. Oh, and we're not rolling a d20. There we go, 51, and that is also not going to be high enough. So when you have a skill that is already at a pretty high level, it's going to be tough to roll above it, but it is nice to have that possibility of getting that big stat growth. And you know, once again, that also points out something that's cool about that system, is that when your skill is at a high level, it's much harder to get that big burst of stat growth. But when you're at a low level with a skill, you know, usually when you first start to learn a skill, you can learn it faster. So very cool system. I like the way that Alex designed that for Carnage Aether. So really cool. All right, and now let's go ahead and start our combat. So because we are inside this tower, I am not going to roll for a what is it? I think it's a match event. We're not going to roll for a match event. I don't think it will make any sense to have like rain or flooding or fog or something coming down in here. Even though I like the match events and they're pretty cool, but I think it won't make sense inside of this tower, so we're not going to roll for that. Or I think it's actually called a battlefield event, but anyway, that's something also from Carnage Aether, another really cool thing from that game. So we're going to want to roll for the encounter difficulty though, and that is going to be a 1. I believe that's going to make it an easy encounter. Let's see here. Yeah, that's going to be an easy encounter, so that's -5 hit points, -1 damage, and -10 loot chance. And I actually really don't want to have an easy encounter, so maybe I'm just going to roll that one more time. Let's see. Okay, this time we got a 9, so a 9 is going to be a standard encounter. There's no changes. All right, let's just go with a standard encounter. And yeah, so here on the 3rd floor, we're going to be facing this tower abomination. And let's bring this guy out here. If he is disturbed, he's going to attack immediately. And this room also has a collection of baubles and precious stones. And there's also an ancient figurine here. There's an Egrastea relic. So Corin is really excited about getting an Egrastea relic because he loves relics. And we look at the tower abomination. He's got a 40% chance of dropping loot. He's got his stats there. He also has a very low charisma. He actually has more charisma than Corin, so, you know, he's a pretty cool guy, and he's better looking than Corin. All right, now his attack is a spray, which is ranged and melee, dealing D8 acid damage. I don't know the distance on that, but we're really in a close space here, close quarters with this tower, so I think he can spray us from anywhere. 30% dodge, not the highest dodge, 40% perception. And he cannot parry, he's immune to all morale. A strangely mutated blob that once could have been some sort of large fish. So he was once a large fish and now he's become an aberration. Alright, so now we're going to roll for initiative, and the way initiative is done, I'm doing it the way that you do it in Carnage and Aether, which is also a D100 roll with some bonuses. And let's see, Corin has got a 37, and the Tower Abomination got a 70, so we're not going to need to worry about the bonuses because that's a clear win for the tower guy. So he's going to be able to attack us first, and everything is on standard difficulty, so we're going to proceed with just the standard. We're going to proceed with the standard stats that he's got here. So he's going to do his spray attack. I believe that's the only attack that he has, so we'll do a D100 roll here. And he has rolled a 9, and Corin has rolled an 8. So he is going to successfully hit right off. So a good start for the Tower Abomination. And that is going to be 7. So wow, that's a big hit there. Corin's going to take 7 points of damage. It's going to drop him down to 15. Corin is now at 15. Oh, and I just noticed I need to move 2 spaces on our wheel for his travel through 2 hexes to get here. So don't want to forget that. All right. And so really good start of the round for the Abomination. And he's not going to move because he has a ranged attack, so he doesn't really need to worry about that. And now Corin's going to have his turn. And Corin is going to move because he wants to get in range with the spear. And one thing I've been thinking about is how I want magical damage to work with armor, because if you have played Ker Nethalas, if you are dealing magical damage, like say a spell, but also with a magically enhanced weapon, that damage actually can go through armor. And so I don't know if I want to play it that way or not. It's something I'm going to think about. I think maybe see how this fight goes and see if I'd like to play it that way, because we are going to be rolling a d6 for his armor, so he can potentially have a pretty high armor value there. So let's see how that's going to go. Alright, so Corin is going to attack with the spear. And that's a 23 for Corin and a 95 for the Tower Abomination. So he is not going to be able to dodge that. He's well over his skill. So Corin will succeed in the attack. And he is going to roll d6 plus d4. And the Abomination will get a d6 roll for his armor. So he has got 4 armor, and then Corin is going to get 3, 4, 5, 6. He gets a +2. You get the +1, and then +1 for the Rage Stone. So that is going to be a total of 2 damage to the Abomination, who starts at 18. So he's going to be down to 16 for that guy. Alright, so moving right along, we'll go ahead and roll for the Abomination. He's going to do his spray attack once again. And he has rolled a 9, and Corin has rolled a 52. So I think in this case, Corin will be able to dodge it successfully with his really high dodge of 76. That will not be a problem for him. And he's also going to get to do a defensive move. So we'll roll a d10 for that. And that is going to be an 8. So let's see what this defensive move is going to be. You can press your advantage. You reduce your opponent's next defensive roll by -20. Okay, that's good. So let's press our advantage here. Corin rolls a 1, which is super low, and even with a 30, even with a 10 with the disadvantage, he's still going to be able to defend. So Corin will not get a hit there, and he is also going to get a defensive move. So let's see what the Abomination gets. He's got a 9. So you can disengage from combat. Otherwise, your next attack receives a +10. All right. So he doesn't want to disengage, but he will have a +10 to his next attack. Okay, 74. That's going to give him a skill of 70 because he has a skill of 60 with his spray attack. So that's still not going to be high enough, and Corin will be able to dodge this with a 21 there. So we'll also have a defensive move, and that's going to be a 3. And your opponent receives the Bleeding 1 condition. Okay, so he has Bleeding 1. And oh, I have some cool cards for that. I should get those cards out. So these are some really cool status effect cards that I got from Gwydion, and you can use these for Ker Nethalas, but you could also use them for Carnage Aether and for Broken Shores. They'll work pretty well in all 3 games. There are some small differences and rules that you have to be aware of, but they can certainly work well in all 3 of these Blackoath games. Alright, so he now has Bleeding 1. And let's go ahead and keep track of the bleeding. We'll use this D8, I guess. So he's got 1 there. Alright, and let's see. Whose turn is it now? I think it is the I think it's Corwin's turn, right? Yeah, it's Corwin's turn. All right, so Corwin has rolled 64, and Corwin would have the attacker bonus. Is going to give him 66 in the melee weapons, but also he's got the bonus from the Rage Stone and from the duelist skill, so his skill is plenty high enough there. And an 89 is not going to be a good enough dodge for the Abomination. So let's roll for damage and armor. So he's going to have 3 armor, and Corwin will do 6 points of damage, but 3 of that will be absorbed by armor. So, or sorry, he's going to do 8 points of damage, and 3 will be absorbed. So he's going to go ahead and hit for 5, and we'll drop the tower guy down to 11, and now it's going to be the tower guy's turn to attack, and he has got a 27 and Corwin has rolled a 47, so Corwin will be able to dodge this one, no problem there. And we can have also the defensive move, which is going to be a 5. And that is going to be your opponent immediately suffers D4 damage that ignores armor. Okay, that's pretty nice. And that's a 4. All right, very good. So I'll go ahead and take him down to 7. So he is now down to 7. And Corwin is at 15. And now it's going to be Corwin's turn. And that's an 11 for the Abomination, so that's a critical defense there. And then Corwin got to 84. Now let's see if 84 would actually be successful or not. So we have 56, 66, 76, 86, 96 with all of his bonuses. So that is a successful attack, but with the 11. The critical defense, so let's look that up on the attack matrix. Let's see. So in this case, the attack is going to miss, and the defender will get a defensive move. Okay. So even though our attack would be a successful attack because he got that critical defense, we will miss, and he gets a defensive move. And that's going to be a 3, which is going to be... we receive the bleeding condition now. So we both have bleeding. Let's use this D8 to mark that, and that's going to be a 1 level of bleeding there for Corwin. Okay, so now the tower guy is going to get to do his attack, and he has rolled a 56, which is going to be high enough, and Corwin has rolled 48, which is going to be too low to defend, so he will get through this time. Roll a d8 for his damage. That's going to be 4. So Corwin is now down to 11, and it's getting a little bit into the danger zone here. Already about half damage taken at this point. Okay, and now Corwin will attack, and that is a 74, which is going to be successful attack. 30 from the Abomination, but Corwin has rolled higher. Now we'll have Corwin roll for damage and armor. We're going to have 1 point of armor, and we're going to have 7 points of damage, 5 plus 2 here. So 1 point will be absorbed, so that's going to be 6 points of damage, and we have now got him down to 1, so we're very close there to finishing him off. Alright, now the Abomination is going to get another attack. 22. Ooh, he got a critical hit. And Corwin has rolled a 1, which unfortunately is not going to be high enough to defend. Ouch, this is going to hurt here with the critical hit. So he's going to get to roll 2d8 here. And I cannot find another d8, or another black one anyway. Or is one of their d8s? Oh, okay. My other DA is over here. So let's use that. And that is going to be 9 damage. So, ouch. Okay. So Corwin is down to 2. Really, really close to death here. That's pretty bad. Okay, so Corwin really needs to finish him off on this next turn here. So let's see if we can finish him off here. And that is going to be a 23 for Corwin and a 38 for the Abomination, and he would need below a 30 to defend. So Corwin does successfully hit here, and hopefully this should finish him off right in the nick of time. So he's going to have 3 armor, and we're going to be doing 5, 6, 7 points of damage. Minus 3, it's going to be 4 damage. Alright, so we will finish him off there. He is defeated, and with Corwin at 2 hit points. So not a moment too soon there to finish him off. And alright, bye-bye, Mr. Tower Abomination. And we have, I believe it's a 40% chance of getting loot, so let's see if we can roll for that. And we got a 30. Alright, so we will get a valuable loot. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so on the valuable loot table, we're going to roll a d20. And that's going to be a 15, which is going to be a potion. Okay. So we have got a potion. And we need to roll a d10 for a potion. But when you roll on this table, you only roll after you have ingested it. If you come across the same potion again, you recognize it by sight and smell. So yeah, let's go ahead and just drink it, I guess. Right now, maybe it would heal us or count as a ration. That's always a good thing. So let's roll a d10, and we're just going to drink it immediately. And that's going to be a 6. And this is a satiation potion, and counts as a daily ration. Okay, so we don't need to consume a ration for 1 day. And that's nice, although a mending potion would have been really good. And that's something that we'd want to probably check off, saying that we had drank one of those. I'll probably make a note of that the satiation table has been consumed before. Alright, so we've completed the combat there, and we also can pick up some loot that is found in the room here. There's some shiny items. They take up 1 slot, and they have a value of about 100 coins. And of course the ancient figurine, the Egrastea relic. So let's add those to our inventory. Okay, so we have the precious baubles and the Egrastea relic added to Corwin's inventory. And seeing that Corwin only has 2 hit points, I think that we're definitely going to want to rest up here, and maybe we should roll for a camp check here and try to set up our camp here in the tower. So yeah, I think we would like to try to set up our camp here, because if we move back to the Hex 4, we could also possibly die by encountering a random encounter. So maybe we should just go for the camp check right now. So let's see if we can do that. We need to pass a survival check, and if we fail, we'll have a camp mishap. We also need to use 2 crafting supplies. So let's see if we have 2 crafting supplies. Yeah, we have 9. Okay. And so our survival skill, I believe, is not great. Okay, we got 31. So let's see if we can pass this check here to set up our camp. 38. No, that's not going to be. It's not going to be enough. Oh, and I also need to add 1 standing for defeating that creature there. Okay, so now we need to roll a camp mishap, and that's going to be, let's see, page 87. We'll roll for the camp mishap. Okay, let's see what we get here. D10 roll. We got an 8. The chosen spot seems to be draining your power points, but you realize too late, so we're going to lose 10 power points. Okay. Well, that could have been worse because we could have lost health points. So we're now going to lose all of our power points. We're down to 0 because we only have 10 to begin with. Okay, so now we're going to have to try another camp check. And we are down to 7 supplies. Can we try a camp check again in this square? Okay, so we do have to attempt to camp at a different location. We cannot camp in the same one. So we'll say that we're back to the morning here, and we're gonna have to try to move to another hex, and we should probably just go to, maybe we'll go over to hex 7. So let's go over to hex 7, and we're gonna have to roll for a random encounter there in hex 7. That's going to be a d20 roll, and that is a 4, so I think we will have a random encounter. Let's see here. Yeah, 1 to 5 means that we're attacked. Okay, so the rotting dead are coming for us, and we need to roll to see how many. It's going to be a d4. 3. Okay, we're going to have 3 rotting dead. And hex 7, what does hex 7 look like? So hex 7 is a swamp, so let's get a swamp. Okay, so we're here in hex 7, and we've got 3 rotting dead that are coming after us, and this is something where we might want to try sneaking away from them. Now they have a perception of 30%, so maybe we can try to stealth our way out of here. Now Corin has a stealth of 25, so let's see if we can pass this check here. We're going to do an opposed check versus their perception. So Corin has rolled a 38, so he's going to be over his stealth score, and they have rolled a 76. Okay, so because both have failed their perception and stealth check, I'm not really sure how to play this. And it says that any character or monster who fails to perceive a threat is caught off guard at the start of the fight. But anyway, we both failed the check, so maybe we'll just do the check again until one side is the winner. Okay, so 59, so Corin has failed again, and 64, they have also failed in their perception check, so we'll just roll again. And 99, they've actually got a fumble. Now maybe that would be something that we could use. Now let's see what happens if you fumble on initiative. That would be perception, stealth. Yeah, I don't know. Okay guys, well I checked how to run away, because obviously we would really like to run away here, having 2 health and all these guys coming after us. And I wasn't able to find anything clearly about that, but one thing that we can do is we could just roll an oracle, which I believe that we have an oracle in here. So we've got an oracle on page 41, so we'll go ahead and try using that, and we'll just kind of do like a yes/no question. If we are we able to run away, and how likely do we think this event is? And probably it's a little bit less likely because there's 3 of them, So maybe we'll just say unlikely. So what we're going to want to do is roll a 10, 15, 20, 25. So he'll be able to move out there. 5, 10, 15, 25, and he can move about right there. Alright, so now Corbin does have one chance to attack here. So let's see what we can do. 78 and a 67 for the defense. And their dodge is normally 40, so he's going to be over his defense. Corwin, I believe, will be successful with 78. He's got, with the spear, he's got 66, 76, 86, 96. So he will successfully hit there. And we're going to want to hope for a good roll here. It's going to be d6 plus d4 plus 2. And so that's going to be 5, 6, 7. And yep, it's going to be enough to finish him off so that he does have one down. And so a little bit of a chance maybe to survive here. Alright, now we're going to go their turn. And he can definitely move into range and attack. So this first Rotting Dead is going to get to attack right now. So he's got oh, and I've been forgetting to roll armor. Great. Alright, I gotta remember to roll armor from now on. Alright, 83 for the Rotting Dead. Now his attack skill is normally going to be 50, so he is going to fail there. Corbin with a 35 on the defense. So he defended well, and we'll roll for a defensive move. That's going to be a 2. And that means we'll reduce the opponent's armor by 1. Alright, so next round we can reduce their armor by 1. And yeah, it's too bad I forgot to roll for armor for the other guy, but at least I caught it there. Okay, now this guy's going to be able to move 5, 10, 15. Now he actually will have to spend a standard action, I believe, to move that far. Let's see. Yeah, so normally it would be about 14, so it's going to be a standard action, so he won't be able to attack this turn, but he'll definitely be able to attack next turn. And now Corbin's going to attack with the spear. So a 93 and a 54. So the Rotting Dead will not succeed in the dodge. Corbin's going to have 66, 76, 86, 96, so he will be successful in the attack. And let's roll for damage. D4 plus D6 plus 2. So 4, 5, 6. And we also need to roll for the armor of the undead. And that's going to be a 3. So we're going to have... going to do 3 damage. So number 2, we're going to say, is going to be down to 12. Alright, now the undead are going to get their turn. And that's going to be a 93 for Corbin on his dodge. Now that might be a failure there. He would have, yeah, 76. Yeah, so Corbin failed his dodge. 10, that's going to be a successful attack for the undead. And he's going to get a D4 plus 2 due to them being elite. So D4 plus 2. And that's going to be 2, 3, 4. That's going to be 4 damage. And now Corbin has been knocked unconscious. I don't know if he is dead exactly right now. We're going to have to look that up. Alright, so we're going to have to roll on the injury table. And so we can only do this if there is an ally there to heal us, or when the combat is clearly over. So I don't know if the combat is considered to be clearly over right now, because we still have undead here. Yeah, how do we determine when combat is over? Well guys, I really don't know how to play this, but I I guess we'll just roll for an injury. And that is going to be a 9. Now let's look at these modifiers. Okay, we're not going to get any negative modifiers. And we could try to pass a vitality check. So anyway, a 9 is going to be the character is severely wounded and must spend a month in bed recovering from them. Okay. So even if we got some kind of a +1, that would still give us a 10, which would be the same result. So we're severely wounded, we need to spend a month recovering, but the thing is we still have undead right here. So I really don't know what to do, but I'm probably just going to say that Corwin is now dead because I think the undead would not be so kind as to just walk away. They probably want to loot his corpse, and they probably continue beating up on him and eating him and things like that, like zombie type things do. So it looks like Corwin has met his end here, and he died in a swamp while trying to get to a place where he could set a camp. So pretty nasty end, and it does show you how really tough it is to survive on the island of Armestus. Certainly a nasty place, and I think the majority of adventurers who come here are not going to survive. And Corwin dies clutching his Egrastea relic, the figurine. He has the figurine in his hand. He did get one, but his corpse will float in the swamps, holding on to his figurine. The undead, of course, not knowing what the figurine is and just leaving it there. So that will be the end of Corwin the Cracked. And I thank you guys very much for watching. And certainly it was a lot of fun to mix in the combat rules from Ker Nethalas and Carnage Aether, and really kind of an interesting homebrew experiment for me. I learned a lot doing it, and really just very cool to have kind of my first homebrew experience here on the channel, and mixing in some games that I really like to play all together. So I hope it was enjoyable for you guys, and if there's a way that you like to play being unconscious or dead in Broken Shores, let me know. Let me know how you like to play it, but this is just the decision that I'm going with right now. So thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you all will see you in the next one. Take care.